18 minutes. Find your focus, master distraction, and get the right things done. Author Peter Bregman. Part 1. Pause. Sometimes we make mistakes. We may choose a wrong path in our life, realize it, but continue to follow it by inertia, unable to stop. For example, when starting a business, in the process we may realize that it will be unprofitable. We will realize what is happening, but it will be difficult for us to stop since we have already invested some money in it. We keep increasing the investment and end up losing everything. The same thing happens when we have studied for a specialty for 1 or 2 years, and now we force ourselves to study until the end, although we realize that this specialty does not suit us. To backtrack, first of all, you need to slow down. Start listening to other ideas or considering new professions. If you are unsure of the financial investment in your business, scale back without giving up completely. Second, start over. Sometimes it's hard for us to give up something we've already started, but we need to stop and ask ourselves the question, if I were starting from scratch right now, would I make the same decision? People's inability to admit when they are wrong has many times ruined marriages and damaged businesses and careers. The reason was an unwillingness to appear weak and admit their mistakes. So, reducing inertia is the first step to freeing yourself from beliefs, habits, emotions, and affairs that may be limiting you. Sometimes we make instant emotional decisions and regret them later. Emotional reactions in the brain are the responsibility of the amygdala gland. Rational decisions are made by the prefrontal cortex. It takes a few seconds for the prefrontal cortex to overpower the amygdala gland. So when you're on edge, you need to take a deep breath before you want to say something so you don't blurt out something you'll regret later. Google has even implemented an undo feature in their emails. I mean, you can cancel a message you've sent within 5 seconds. So take a short pause, and your next move will be smarter. Our life is a marathon, not a sprint. Even if you love your job, you'll tire quickly if you don't allow yourself to rest. However, if we do make time to rest, we find new ways to increase our productivity. And usually, new ideas come to us not at work, but when you're out walking, jogging, or chatting with a friend. A popular long-distance method right now is to alternate running with walking. You run for a few minutes and then walk for a minute. Athletes perform better in this way than when they run the old-fashioned way. By slowing down for at least a few minutes every now and then, you end up running faster and you run more correctly, and running becomes much more enjoyable. Life is also much more enjoyable when you take breaks for rest. So don't beat yourself up if you don't feel like doing anything today. Take a day off. Many people identify themselves with their job. That is, they think that if they lose their job, their very existence will be in question. By defining ourselves only through our jobs, we limit our individuality. There is a threat of depression, loss of self-esteem, and loss of meaning in life if the question of dismissal arises. Many have no answer to the question of who they will be without their job. Therefore, you can always diversify your development in different directions. If you suffer a setback in one area, you can still live life to the fullest. If you get laid off and you define yourself as a loving parent, you will be fine. If you love growing plants or consider yourself a photographer, you'll be fine. One thing to consider, however, is that you have to take action. That is, if you rarely spend time with your children, you won't feel like a loving father. And you can hardly call yourself a photographer if you photograph something once a year. If you think your current standard of living requires non-stop work, maybe you should find a way to live more modestly, for the sake of self-preservation. One obstacle is money. Many people obsess over work precisely because they want to earn enough money for themselves and their families. But it is by developing ourselves in a multifaceted way that we keep ourselves from failing in one area. And the more you invest in your different manifestations, if you lose one of them, you will not be lost, because the others will remain. If you know what result you want, you will be able to focus on the main thing and not give in to emotions, which too often lead to a dead end. Our reaction to an event looks like this: event, reaction, result. For example, if a client tells you that you are an ineffective employee, you will flare up and end up losing the client. If you keep in your head the goal you are going for, that is to develop your business, You will not react spontaneously, and your reaction chain will look like this: event, result, reaction. When a certain event robs you of your composure, pause before reacting and ask yourself a single question: what do I want to gain? This technique will help you in your personal relationships as well. Part 2. What is this year about? To live a real life, you have to focus on prioritizing first. Otherwise, no matter how hard you work, you'll be splurging on little things. So first, you need to decide what you want to spend your year on. Here are 4 actions that can be your main focus for the next year. First, maximize your strengths. 2. Embrace your weaknesses. 3rd, state your individual characteristics. 4th, get involved in something you love. For example, Mark Zuckerberg and the founders of Google, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, loved technology and therefore realized themselves in that field. They didn't think they would reach such heights. They started out just because they just loved it. They compensated for their weaknesses by hiring other people as they developed their products. Anything can be a hobby and fun for others, so anything can make money. For example, if you know how to survive in the woods, you can start a company that does team-building activities outdoors. This can be useful for a variety of companies. So pick a business that you're going to focus on in the new year. Even if you're not very good at what you like to do, anyone can do anything under 3 conditions. 1. You want to accomplish it. 2. You believe you can accomplish it. 3. You like doing it. You want to be a great leader? Then prepare to be a bad leader for quite a long time, because you will only become great through practice. If you're committed to growth, you use failure to grow. There hasn't been a violinist who has practiced tens of thousands of hours and yet not become a star. This is the magic number that allows you to become the best at anything you do. That's why it's better if trying to achieve your goals brings you pleasure. You can't devote 10,000 hours to a cause you don't enjoy. To determine your favorite thing to do, think about what you are willing to devote a year to and not quit. Even if it seems that you are not succeeding, you can do the following. First, make a list of things you like to do or that you are interested in trying. Write down everything that comes to your mind. Second, separate the things you do with others from the things you do alone. Third, analyze the things you like to do alone. Can you, and do you want others to do them with others? Try streaming your game walkthroughs, or join a writing club or a reading club. If you can and want to connect other people to your activities, keep them on the list. Fourth, spend 90% of your time, at work or outside of work, doing what you love with other people who also really enjoy it. If possible, take a leadership role. If you're passionate about something and you do it with others who are passionate about it, it's likely that the business you end up doing for a living will be closer to your hobby. A lot of people would say it's something only people can do who already have money and you have to pay the utility bills. That's true, but it's a cop-out. The easiest way to succeed, both when looking for a job and already working, is if you really love what you do. You won't perceive what you love as work because it will be easy for you, and being successful will come naturally to you. According to the data, we spend almost 20 hours a day sleeping, working, and watching TV. Many terminally ill people, when asked what their biggest regret in life is, say that first of all, they wish they had had the courage to live their own lives rather than conform to the expectations of others. And second, that they worked so hard at a job they hated. There are 2 ways to prevent this outcome. The first is to work less and attend to your own life. The second is to work just as hard, and even harder, on the things that are important to you. So this year, focus on what matters most to you. When the future is uncertain, it's hard to live in the present. For example, many people don't renovate their homes for years because they think they're about to move somewhere else. They don't try to advance in their careers because they think it's downsizing time and he or she is about to be laid off. Some people are living in a house that's about to fall apart and say to themselves, if the world's going to end, why fix the house at all? David McClelland, in his book, identified that each of us is driven by 3 needs. The first is success, the desire to achieve increasingly difficult goals. The second, involvement, the desire to like or be liked. Third, power in one of 2 manifestations, personally oriented, the desire to influence others and gain respect, and socially oriented, the desire to delegate authority to others, to provide them with influence and respect. If people have the opportunity to pursue goals, gain recognition, and have influence, they will be motivated and passionate, even if they have little vision for the future. So instead of worrying about what life will be like tomorrow, focus on today. Answer 3 questions. 1. Are you working on a meaningful and sufficiently challenging task? 2. Do you have working or friendly relationships with people you like and consider close? 3. Do you receive recognition for your work, whether paid or not? Do you participate in decision-making and can influence the outcome? If you answer yes to all the questions, great. You are motivated. If you answered no to any of the questions, take action. Make sure you have clear goals and the freedom to pursue them, that you are now working on challenging and interesting tasks. Find opportunities to collaborate with others, look for opportunities to influence the course of, and celebrate the accomplishments of others. If you create the right environment for yourself, you'll be motivated enough to move in the right direction. Even without a plan, even if the world ends in 6 months, at least those months can be filled with exciting and meaningful work in a friendly team. You need to prioritize your priorities. For example, imagine you find yourself at a buffet party. You'll want to try all the dishes and you'll probably do so, but you'll end up leaving feeling uncomfortable from overeating. Thus, an evening that could have delighted you with exquisite dishes will be ruined. It's the same with the rest of what you do. There are so many interesting people, enjoyable activities, worthwhile events, and attractive opportunities that it's hard for you to choose one, so you grab for everything at once. We end up with neurosis, exhaustion, and overload. The author has identified 5 categories for himself that he would like to pursue. 3 relate to work, and 2 relate to personal life. Everything or almost everything he does must fall into one of these 5 categories. If it doesn't, he politely declines. The category doesn't have to be a goal. It can be an area. Let's say, having fun and taking care of yourself. If you're working 12 hours a day, it's unlikely this category will be satisfied, so it may be worth thinking about changing jobs. It's setting a 1-year time frame for yourself, because that's a great time frame for long-term goals. Part 3. What is this day about? Start planning your day ahead of time to avoid doing things and activities you didn't plan to do today. If you don't plan your day, you will have so many different thoughts and things to do in your head that it will be very difficult to get anything done. Because we don't know where to start, and we don't start at all. As you probably already know, the big tasks need to be broken down into bite-sized chunks and start working through them. In doing so, remember, you don't need to do everything, but rather what needs to be done. You already have 5 priorities for the year, and they should be the foundation, the organizational chart for your day. 95% of your time should be devoted to them. The remaining 5% to everything else. If you have too many things to do in a category, put them in order of priority, or delegate some of your work to an assistant. Nowadays, we are bombarded with so much information that we get lost in it, are constantly distracted, and end up not having time to do everything we had planned. Now more than ever, we need to learn how to say no. I'm not going to read this article. I will not read this email. I won't take this phone call. I won't come to this meeting, etc. It's time to pause, prioritize, and focus. Thus, in order to do everything necessary, it is necessary not only to make a plan of things to do, but also to determine what you have to give up. When making a monthly to-do list, always specify where and when you will do it. For example, one group of people were asked to get a medical exam within 30 days, while the second group was told to specify where and when they would go for the exam. In the end, 53% of the people in the first group passed it, and 100% of the second group passed it. The most difficult and important tasks you need to put at the beginning of the day. In the afternoon, it is better to do things from the 5% category. Now you can apply the 3-day rule. It ensures that the items on the list never stay there for longer than 3 days. Anything that's been on the list for more than 3 days, you do one of 4 things you can do. 1. Do things immediately. You may end up doing several things at once that you've been putting off all the time. 2. Plan. Set the task for a time when you will definitely accomplish it, even if it's 6 months from now. 3. Let go. Simply recognize that you won't do something you don't want to do right now, or plan for a specific date and time. 4. Put it on your someday list. Check it about once a month. Periodically erase items that are no longer important, or move some tasks to the to-do list. Also keep a waiting list. If you've sent someone an email, left a message, or are just waiting to hear back from someone on a topic, put it on the list. That way you won't miss out on what you're expecting from others and can repeat the request if necessary. You need to make organizing your day a ritual. Simple enough that you can repeat it every day. The ritual should take a total of 18 minutes a day. The first step is in the morning. Allocate 5 minutes to it. This is an opportunity to plan your day according to the methodology discussed earlier. The second step is refocusing. Allocate 1 minute per hour to this step. Start a timer so you hear a beep every hour and start doing the things listed in your day planner. When you hear the beep, ask yourself if you've been productive for the past hour. And just like that, hour by hour, take control of your day. The third step is the evening. Allocate 5 minutes for it. At the end of the day, turn off your computer and evaluate how your day went. What new things did you learn? Is there someone you need to reach out to in order to maintain a relationship? If so, quickly write a couple emails or make a phone call. Just 18 minutes a day can help you prevent many hours from being inefficiently wasted. You can change your environment to change yourself. For example, if you take a big spoon, you'll eat more. If you put food on a larger plate, you'll eat more. If you move a vase of chocolates 2 meters away from the desk. From your desk, you'll eat half as much. If you live a minute from a liquor store, you'll drink more. So just change the environment. In the case of food, get a smaller plate or spoon. The secretary behind the glass window behaves more rudely with visitors than without it. To make the classroom environment more friendly, seat students in a semicircle so that they are facing each other and not just the teacher. Create an environment so that the things you want to do become attractive. This is the end of the book. Subscribe to the channel, give it a like, hit the bell, and leave any comments. Bye.